All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanan. In this video, we're going to talk about Teofimo Lopez and a message that was sent out by Errol Spence Jr. about what got people like Teofimo Lopez need to do to be great instead of being good. And it's definitely something that Teofimo Lopez could have used in that last fight. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. Hey, thank you guys so very much for watching the video. If you would not mind, hit the like button. If you want to wait till the end of the video to hit the like button, if you're going to watch it all the way to the end, that would be great as well. But make sure you hit the like button at some point. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Also share the video. It would be greatly, greatly appreciated. All right, man. So we're still in the aftermath of the Teofimo Lopez shocking loss to George Kambosos. Teofimo Lopez was the lightweight champion. He held the WBC franchise belt, the WBA, the IBF, and the WBO, but then he lost in a 12-round decision to George Kambosos in what I thought was a one-way fight for the most part, other than the fact that Teofimo Lopez may have had 2 or 3 good rounds towards the throughout the entirety of the fight, but pretty much locked up around the 10th. Maybe the 10th and 11th round, 9th, 10th, and 11th round seemed like he pushed a little bit, but he lost his belt. And Errol Spence Jr. was on Twitter this morning, and he, you know, these boxers are into these cryptic messages now where they leave these instructions and stuff, and you really got to kind of put together what they mean by it. But this one, I think, was pretty straightforward. Errol Spence Jr. says, "Good fighters don't jab, great fighters jab." And when I read that, I was like, that is exactly right, because that is something that has to be directed. It's to one of two things. Either talking about Terrence Crawford and the fact that what would make Terrence Crawford a good fighter and Errol Spence Jr. a great fighter, because Errol really, really does focus on that jab. But I think what is more appropriate is Teofimo Lopez, because I said this after the fight. I've said that, I've noticed about Teofimo Lopez before, but definitely in this fight, if Teofimo Lopez would have a good, responsible jab, an effective jab that he uses consistently, his chance of winning fights like that against George Kambosos, even during times when Teofimo Lopez might be off with a lot of other stuff, when you have the jab and you have and you are fundamentally sound, you know, even if your athleticism is off a little bit, or your mood may be off, your weight, you know, your endurance might be a little bit off, you can still rely upon that stick standing in somebody's face and scoring points on a regular, consistent basis. And that is something that Teofimo Lopez did not have. Now, the reason that I think that is so interesting, you know, and I'm telling you, I try not to be too big of a jerk on videos. It's hard sometimes not to be, because I remember having conversations last year after the Teofimo Lopez versus Vasily Lomachenko fight, right? In a year where Derek James, who is the trainer of Jermell Charlo and Errol Spence Jr., had won 5 belts in 2 weight classes, lost to Teofimo Lopez Sr. for Trainer of the Year. But then you see how in the very next fight, almost everything breaks down on Teofimo Lopez. If you looked at how Teofimo Lopez came into that fight and the things that he did in the beginning, especially in the first round, Jessica McCaskill, who's a unified champion who's not a unified champion, she's an undisputed champion at welterweight in women's boxing, literally said that Teofimo Lopez ran out there looking like an amateur. Like, what is this guy doing? You do not do that. You don't just run out of your corner and chase somebody around the ring trying to knock him out. If you listen to Teofimo Lopez's instructions in the corner, it was like, you know, it's like, man, hurry up and get that dude out of here, right? Like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Just knock him out. Just knock him out. It's like, man, do you not have any real instructions for this for this kid and what to do in order to beat this guy, George Kambosos? right? But if you listen, if he was with a more technical coach, right, like somebody that is really, that has something to say and instructions to give you in the ring, then he could have said, look, man, you can win this fight. You can win this fight with a jab. Because he probably could have won that fight with a jab. First of all, Teofimo Lopez is the house favorite. He's the guy that the judges more than likely want to win the fight. And I know people may think that is not necessarily the best type of analysis to do, but it doesn't make it any less true. Yeah, that's why you see so many quote unquote robberies taking place in boxing, because when crowds of people come to see somebody, they tend to be the one that get the favors of the judges, even if it may just be the yelling, of the crowd or whatever that sways the judges, or it could be, anything, something more nefarious. But whatever the case is, if Teofimo Lopez just would have focused on winning rounds and jabbing a straight right hand on George Kambosos and made George Kambosos come forward with him, he could have won. Now, when you say, good fighters don't jab, great fighters jab, why would that be true? Now, from what I can see, having watched boxing for a very long time, the reason that a jab is very, very important over the long run and will make a fighter great is because it provides consistency. It provides consistency. It allows you to stay at a consistent range for your other shots. It also can keep somebody consistently having something in their face that they have to worry about. And it's also the closest hand to the other fighter. So therefore, more than likely, it's always going to be and it's a straight shot, the one that is going to get off the most. So the fact that Teofimo Lopez was running around that fight with his hands down by his waist, George Kambosos is jabbing him all over the place, never really spending any amount of time really trying to work the jab, maybe try to swell the guy's eye up, maybe get him to make some mistakes, right, trying to work his way in around a jab. He just didn't have any of that stuff available to him. And I think, and I'm telling you, man, I'm not blaming Teofimo Lopez on that one. I'm going to blame Teofimo's coach on that, man. When you listen to Derek James talk, he gave an interview just yesterday, I don't know if it was yesterday. I think he did the interview over the weekend, and it was released yesterday, where he talked about how underrated Errol Spence Jr. was, because everything Errol Spence Jr. does is very tight and is very, very technical, and a lot of people really can't see all of that stuff, right? But that is part of one of the great things about Errol Spence Jr. is that jab, the jab to the body, the jab up top. He varies his jab, but it's something that he's consistently working behind and consistently keeping somebody having to deal with, right? And even though there have been times like where Kell Brook will come over the jab, he would adjust to Kell Brook coming over the jab, and still continue to keep that jab in front of Kell Brook, eventually breaks him down, and that's how he goes about doing it. If Teofimo Lopez is going to recover from this loss, I think that Teofimo Lopez probably needs to find another trainer, find somebody that can get him to pretty much work on the basics and not rely so much on his strength and so much on his speed and athleticism, because, hey, man, that stuff can go away at any point in time. But anyway, I thought that was very good advice and a very good insight from Errol Spence Jr. You let me know what you think in the comment section. If you like the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. And with that, I'm out. Peace.